Hi, Kings Mountain. We're back again with updates with the city manager. I'm your city manager, Jim Palenick, and today's topic is economic development, specifically downtown revitalization and how you do catalytic economic development in order to help revitalize a downtown. Obviously, in this case, we're talking about downtown Kings Mountain. What are some of the things, or in this particular case, what is one thing that we are now working on that we think will make a significant difference to catalyze economic activity in our downtown? And the topic specifically is something that some people have seen, what they understand is going on, we're starting to develop, and that is a downtown boutique hotel. There is a site immediately across from City Hall. It is about 1 acre in size. It was recently purchased by the city of Kings Mountain for $105,000. And we have been in the process of cleaning the trees, the brush off that particular site, rerouting a sanitary sewer line, and we will be moving electric lines as well as improving it somewhat and making it in preparation for what we hope to be a new boutique hotel. And let me tell you a little bit about that project and why that makes sense, what it is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't. As we talk about the concept for the development of a new privately owned boutique hotel in downtown, there are some things that have already been out in the public that we've presented to our city council that they've been involved with and that have even appeared in the newspaper. But let's go over in a little bit greater detail some of the things so that we can dispel any myths, clear up any misunderstandings, and give the accurate information. So essentially, when we talk about how do we help a downtown to thrive and prosper, there's one critically important thing that has to be in evidence, and that is you have to have significant numbers of actual residents. So it's important as we move forward to try to work to actually get some new development of urban scale apartments and condominiums being built in and around downtown, some new apartments, particularly the ones that can be above the retail and the commercial on some of the existing commercial buildings, these sort of Airbnb units, and then most important, what we're talking about here is hotels. A downtown hotel can certainly serve as a critical catalyst to revitalization and economic activity. It can and does bring large numbers of recurring overnight lodgers, and with them comes disposable income that they will then spend in immediate proximity to that lodging facility. And that's the primary reason why you want to see this downtown. So, what is the project as we envision it? Well, there is a particular branded hotel flag out there. It is called Cobblestone Hotels. They are a relatively new product to the market. They were designed to meet a unique market segment, primarily the small city urban niche markets. And what they do is they have a sort of turnkey template model for how they want to build these products. They have a specific builder, Brymark Builders, that usually constructs the majority of these cobblestone hotels. They kind of get it down to a science. The cost is less. It's more efficient. The Cobblestone Hotel, in this case, is its own unique brand. It will be branded as such, as a Cobblestone Hotel. SHG is the management company that typically manages these Cobblestone Hotels. Again, to be efficient, to have economies of scale, to have assurance of quality, to be consistent as you see one product in one community that will look, act, and operate the same as in another community. Now, these are not mandatory that it happen this way, but they are turnkey and they're proven. They are successful in the areas where they've been done. So why do we think this can and will work in Kings Mountain? Because we engaged, paid for, and completed a very detailed, very lengthy hotel feasibility study that was done on behalf of the city by a company called Core Distinction Group. Now that was done in 2023. They had visited Kings Mountain as part of that effort. They were here in July of 2023. Also, as part of that effort and all the research that they did, they completed 32 separate demand generator interviews within local business and industry. And as a result of that, they came up with this detailed, almost 100-page long feasibility study that said, yes, indeed, this product is very feasible in the city of Kings Mountain. It is financially feasible, it makes sense, and it can and should move forward. As such, what is the proposal? The proposal is as follows. It would be a 4-story tall hotel with 76 total units. The 3 top floors would each have 24 units apiece. The lower level would have 4 ADA accessible units, along with an indoor pool, a fitness center, a area for hospitality, some small conference space, back of office, and the lobby area. The total cost for this project would be $13.5 million, total investment. Now understand, this investment is absolutely, completely contemplated as privately owned and operated. The city has no desire of any kind to own, invest in, or operate this hotel. It will only move forward if it is, and is expected to be, privately owned and operated for the long term. The hotel will also include a first floor Wissota Chop House, which is a high-end destination steakhouse restaurant. There will also be indoor and outdoor dining space attached to that restaurant. Now, most of these cobblestone Main Street boutique branded hotels are smaller. They're usually 64 units or less. This one would be larger because the feasibility study believes that it should be and that it can support that financially. It also typically doesn't have the high-end steakhouse. However, in this case, again, the feasibility study suggested that it can and should support it. What is the general look of this product? Generally speaking, this is one of the cobblestone Main Street model hotels in another community. It also, if you note in the illustration, has one of the Wissota Chop House restaurants in it. So in some ways it will look a lot like this, but it will have its own specific design when it comes to Kings Mountain. Also, the Wissota Chop House, which is the upscale Main Street steakhouse, offers an intimate, comfortable, yet upscale atmosphere. These locations include an exclusive dining area, which can be rented out to accommodate bigger parties. They're also perfect for corporate meetings or special events. A very nice, warm, welcoming atmosphere, a lot of brick and stone, typical of something you would expect in a high-end steakhouse restaurant. Where is the project located? As we indicated, it is downtown, to be on a site across from City Hall. And then at our City Hall site, we are expecting to develop a new parking deck that will fully support the parking needs for both the hotel and the restaurant, as well as the parking needs for City Hall. So, what is that exactly? The current city lot next to the City Hall contains 28 total spaces. We believe in the future, for this hotel and restaurant, we need at least 114 spaces to serve the hotel and the restaurant. And then we would like to increase our existing city-owned spaces, the currently 28 that we have, to 36 for city employees. That combination would have us building a 150-space parking garage. Now, the cost of that is expected to be about $28,000 per space, could range a little higher than that, but at that point it would be about $4.2 million. We also would contemplate building this deck such that it could have a foundation that would support additional levels in the future, so that as the community grew and there was greater need for parking spaces, we could add on additional levels when it's necessary and when it could be financed. But as far as financing this parking garage, we expect it would be at debt service, 4.25% for 15 years, or about $379,148 in debt service per year. So where do those funds come from? They come from what we call project financing. The project itself will fully pay for the cost of the debt service on building the garage. How does that work? Well, basically there will be fees coming from using the parking space. Those who use the hotel and the restaurant will have modest fees attached to it. The city could have modest fees attached to its use. But then more than anything, we are going to be capturing the property tax and the occupancy taxes produced by the new hotel, which together with the parking fees themselves will fully cover the debt service for the hotel. So as we said, debt service we expected to be about $379,000 per year for 15 years. And in this matrix that you have in front of you, you see where these taxes and fees would produce a little over $404,000 per year, fully covering the DEC financing. As such, project financing. So no taxpayer funding is coming to pay for this. It is the project itself that is paying for it. Also understand that any and all of the costs that the city is putting in to help create the site and prepare it for sale to or partnership with the entity that will own and operate the hotel is coming from something we call the Economic Development Fund. The Economic Development Fund was funded exclusively by property taxes that have been captured from large industrial users who had gotten economic incentives, didn't fully comply with those incentives, and the city captured the additional property taxes that they otherwise were going to get back and then put it into a separate segregated economic development fund for use to catalyze additional economic development in the future. The key is, again, that this project, number one, the only dollars that the city is putting into it coming exclusively from the Economic Development Fund, not from any city taxes. Number two, it is project financed when it comes to the parking deck. So the project itself will fully pay for the cost of it, even though it will then become an asset fully owned by the city after the 15 years of debt service. And then the hotel itself will be exclusively privately owned and operated. So to summarize, when we talk about doing downtown revitalization and economic development on behalf of a municipality or a city, what's important to keep in mind is to try to use the least amount of public resources necessary to actually achieve the economic development, to prioritize the greatest catalytic effort that you can have in spin-off, in multiplier, in bringing people and activity and disposable income and investment to an area, and to make a difference in having other spin-off activities happen as a result of that. So when you keep all those things in mind, beginning at this point in time with a small boutique hotel anchoring our downtown revitalization becomes an important prioritized catalyst if we hope to have success, particularly when we can do it in a manner that will use so little actual public resources and mostly allow the project itself to finance what we're looking at doing. So it's really about private investment, but finding a way to encourage, to support, and to ensure it happens, and then to make it successful in a way that by controlling the narrative of it, the placement of it, and the type and the way that it happens, we can assure that it then has the kind of impact that we hope that it will. And of course, you don't enter into this unless you know that it's highly feasible. That's why you do in advance a very detailed, very complete, very thorough financial pro forma and feasibility analysis, both of which the city has completed, both of which have come forward and said this can and should be a very successful project. We know that just in the kinds of things where the Duke Energy is having people come in on a regular basis to get training, the folks at Albemarle that come and go as professionals working with them in their mine setup. So many of the other things that are going to be going on attached to our entertainment district, the casino in the future, even when you just look at the architects, the engineers, and the consultants, that alone will keep a hotel full for years on end. So we have no concern that the demand will be there. It's just a matter of making the right product come at the right time in the right place. So we're helping to make that happen, and we think it's important for the success of the community. So with that, thanks again, Kings Mountain. We'll see you next time.